Welcome back to the show. Well, the gloves were off on last night's episode of Q&A with Independent Senator Jackie Lambie clashing with Islamic youth leader Yasmin Abdul Majid. Take a look.
We have one law in this country, and it is the Australian law. It's not Sharia law.
In Islam.
Not in this country.
Do you know what
Not in my day. Stop playing the victim. Stop playing the victim on. We've had enough.
No.
Stop playing the victim.
Okay, may I ask you this?
Your ban got lifted. Get over it.
Time now for the Mixed Grill with Shelly Horton and Ross Greenwood. Shelly, they certainly weren't holding back.
Yeah, I know, but you know what? I don't think either of them helped their argument, because when you're yelling over each other, you're not actually presenting a sound argument. I, of course, believe that we do need to follow Australian laws, but I don't think that Sharia law is actually trying to change and have a parallel legal system in Australia. If you go by Islam, it says you must abide by the law in the land that you're in. So I think that we're talking about an extreme minority. And I don't want to live in a country that is terrified all of the time and in fear. I want to live in the sort of country that had the spontaneous "I'll ride with you" campaign. We're multicultural, and that's how I feel about it.
Ross, your thoughts?
I think this is an argument that has to be had in Australia right now. And the reason for that is, even though you're right, it may be a minority of people, Muslims who come to Australia, who are, shall we say, out there. But those people who are out there are those who will be the leaders that others will follow. And the truth is, if you've got people in our courts refusing to stand before judges, therefore not recognising Australia's rule of law, people who are refusing to take off hijabs in front of, judges, because, again, their faith is greater and their law is seen to be greater than the Australian laws. We've got a fundamental problem in this country, and that's what has to be addressed and argued, because quite clearly what has to happen is people coming to Australia from Muslim countries have got to be better informed about the expectations of their behaviour in Australia and our standards here in this country as well, because there is no shadow of a doubt that if, say, for example, either of you went to Saudi Arabia today and tried to behave as you would as Australian women, you would find yourself behind bars in a heartbeat under their system of justice. The same has got to be totally and utterly spelt out to people coming to this country and people who are living here, that Australia has a rule of law and we will uphold it.
Yeah, it's a discussion that has to be had, particularly against the backdrop of what's happening in the US under Donald Trump. The problem is two people shouting over each other. As you said, no one wins.
No one listens.
All right, moving on. It's time to turn off your tablet, put your phone on silent and give all of your attention to your loved ones this Valentine's Day, because new research from Intel Security reveals a quarter of Australians say they have to compete with a new partner's device on a first date. And 40% of those in relationships have felt their significant other is more interested in their smartphone than spending time together. Now, Shelly, despite the fact that they're meant to improve communication, smartphones actually appear to be doing just the opposite.
I know, my poor husband, he does the Lady Diana line of "there's a third person in our bed and it's my phone." I am addicted, and I have to really make an effort to turn it off, or I don't actually turn it off, to put it on silent or turn it over. But at the same time, he understands my addiction. So for Valentine's Day, he actually sent me roses on the 13th because he knows that I like to put it up on social media first. So that's kind of feeding it, you know. What can I do?
Can you stop, do you reckon?
No.
No.
I was asked to be part of a campaign where you detoxed digitally for a month, and I was just like, no.
Couldn't do it?
Can't do it.
What about you,
I'm
Ross?
pretty guilty of it too. I've got to say, I am really guilty of it as well. And it drives Tanya, my wife, completely spare. Completely and utterly spare.
See, Pete says that about me as well. I suppose it depends on what you're doing on your phone. Like sometimes he'll say to me, oh, for heaven's sake, get off Instagram.
Yeah.
I'll be sitting there paying the electricity bill or sending a message to Billy about picking her up from the station. Or
That's right.
Because all of our lives are on those things now.
Or I will just be on Instagram.
That's where we've ended up.
Can you seriously, dead set, turn it off and walk away, do you think?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
But people get annoyed with me. If I don't go near my phone for 6 hours,
then they're like, why weren't you replying?
I'm dead because I haven't replied. And that's the point we've got to.
Well, I'll tell you what, my phone's actually buzzing at the moment.
I know. Let's leave those two to answer their messages. Still to come, from the catwalk to the boardroom, Australian Star.